there for Director Wray, and that caught my attention. I noted that you were there in that position when the Hunter Biden laptop story broke in October of 2020. Is that correct?
In October of 2020, Senator, I would have been the Deputy Chief of Staff.
The Deputy Chief of Staff, okay. And so you were there when the FBI, despite having possession of that laptop, refused to correct all the misinformation that was out in the media. And the FBI's mishandling of the Hunter Biden laptop is one example of why people think there's a two-tier system of justice. I did a telephone town hall last night with several thousand Tennesseans on that telephone town hall. And lack of trust with the FBI, just really a disappointment with the political cabal inside the FBI is something that came up repeatedly in the questions that people brought to me. I noted that you were also there when concerned parents that went to school board meetings were labeled as domestic terrorists. And also, during that time, the FBI targeted pro-life individuals. They allegedly obstructed the Hunter Biden tax probe. And this, we need to know what your participation in all of this was. So, Senator Graham has already asked you about this, and I want to drill a little bit further on this. Did you participate in any meetings, any memos, any emails that would have provided discussion, advice, or guidance on how to handle the Hunter Biden laptop situation? Did you participate in any meetings, any writings, any memos, any advice, any guidance on labeling parents as domestic terrorists? Did you participate in any meetings on how to handle parents at school board meetings? What was your knowledge of and your participation in those decisions and those actions that the FBI carried out during that time that you were there, the Deputy Chief of Staff, the Acting Chief of Staff?
Well,
I would like to know, two tiers of justice is one of the main concerns of Tennesseans. They want fairness. They want equal treatment. And sir, I have a problem with the fact that you were there in a leadership role during a time when actions were taken by a few people within the FBI that has caused enormous distrust. So I'm asking you to submit to me in writing so that we know what your participation was in this. It's something that has upset this country terribly. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We know, I don't want you to, my time's going to run out. I want you to answer the question. We know what the role is. We know what the job description is.
Well, Senator, specifically with respect to the Hunter Biden matter, I am a Department of Justice employee. I'm a judicial nominee. That is a pending matter. And it would
we fully realize that. I'm asking, as did Senator Graham, and I know you didn't want to answer his question either. So why don't you submit for me in writing and include any emails, any memos, anything that you participated in? I would like to know. Two tiers of justice is one of the main concerns of Tennesseans. They want fairness. They want equal treatment. And sir, I have a problem with the fact that you were there in a leadership role during a time when actions were taken.
Chairman, let me start by disagreeing with the notion that what took place with respect to the cases against President Trump was weaponization. I know that's the Republican theory of the case, but the other reason why the FBI and the Department of Justice would investigate Trump for crimes is because Trump was doing crimes. And there was adequate predication to pursue investigation of those crimes. And indeed, in every case that I'm aware of in which those cases were allowed to go to judgment, the president was convicted. So we can't allow the weaponization narrative to just remove the notion that the guy was investigated and prosecuted for crimes because he did the crimes. Once you start with the notion that Trump is not a criminal but a victim, you then have to invent the conspiracy that victimized him. And once you've propagated that conspiracy, you then have to find who the conspirators are. So then you have to go after FBI agents and DOJ folks in order to prop up that theory. The way that ended in Soviet Russia was with show trials of the individuals who were allegedly in the conspiracy. The way that ends in Trump's America is with agents and prosecutors forced out in mass purges that may well, as the ranking member Durbin has pointed out, been driven by Kash Patel as a private citizen. So starting with that point, there are three reasons why Kash Patel is extremely dangerous. One is all of his wild MAGA behavior. This is a guy whose judgment is beyond questionable. It's appallingly bad. We have a lot of quarrel about whether his enemies list is an enemies list and whether we're smearing the guy by saying that his enemies list is an enemies list. Here's what he said about it. He showed his enemies list and said, "The manhunt starts tomorrow." If they're not your enemies, why would you start a manhunt against them? He called them the criminals themselves and showed a picture of his enemies list. If criminals aren't your enemies, as head of the FBI, who are? He retweeted a video showing him chainsawing the heads off of people on to do the counterintelligence work. You want to shut it down? You're opening your arms to Russian intelligence operations. You go just across to the Attorney General's office, and there's Attorney General Bondi. What's the first thing she does when she gets in? Closes all the kleptocrature and kleptocracy investigation offices of the Department of Justice. Gee, who were they pursuing? Putin and his oligarchs. You shut down the group that has successfully grabbed assets off Putin's crooked oligarchs. What a signal that is. And then look at Tulsi Gabbard. I'm not going to go through the whole length of her Russia associations, but let's just say that a Russian news media editorial said that her appointment should cause the CIA and the FBI to tremble because she was a friend to Russia. Who defends us against Russian intelligence operations and Russia's criminal operations in the United States? It's the FBI, it's the Department of Justice, and it's our intelligence community. The people in charge of each one have sent powerful signals that they are shutting down our defenses when it comes to Russia. And we're about to head to the Munich Security Conference, where we are seeing Mr. Art of the Deal and his operatives giving away every piece of leverage that we have over Putin with respect to Ukraine. It is unilateral disarmament to throw Ukraine under the bus and give Putin what he wants. So mark my words. This Patel guy will come back to haunt you. Every piece of evidence shows that, and it is not Democrat evidence. It's his own words, it's his own colleagues, and it's judges evaluating his credibility. And Trump Russia is going to come roaring back, if it's not already back. We should be on our guard about this nominee, and we should be on our guard about Trump Russia. Thank you, Chairman.
Senator Klobuchar.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. I oppose the confirmation of Kash Patel to serve as the next director of the FBI. The director of the FBI leads our nation's most important law enforcement agency, made up of more than 38,000 employees. I have tremendous respect for the men and women of the FBI. They take on violent crime. They get fentanyl off our streets. In our state, they have investigated incredibly complex matters, including a case a few years back that was the biggest white-collar case outside of Madoff for years. They have done such